How exactly does a white person, or someone who's considered white, we're all mutts, let's say for the sake of argument that we're all white, all of us racists, how does that person prove they're not racist? How do you prove a negative? Do I talk about my mom's family? My mom, who was the daughter of a Cherokee woman and an English man, whose father owned slaves, and when slavery was abolished, left them land on his farm, free and clear. Do I talk about my grandfather, who even into his senile years believed that the land that was his was being farmed by his black friends and wouldn't allow us to go into the fields. One of his sons was growing watermelons in a field beside the house, and us kids, we like to go out there and break open the watermelons and eat the hearts. But my grandfather didn't see it that way. To him, it was still Elijah's beans. Elijah was the descendant of one of his father's slaves. He had given that land to Elijah. Elijah had died and his family had moved on, but in my grandfather's mind, those were still Elijah's beans. And he came running out of the house in his senile state, yelling at us kids, "You get off Elijah's beans. Those are Elijah's beans." Because Elijah was his friend. Should I talk about that? Or maybe I should talk about my dad's family. They came over here from Ireland just about the time that slavery was abolished, and sharecroppers were the new thing. So they settled in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and they made a deal with a sharecropper farmer that they would live in the hovel of a house that he gave them, and they would work on his farm for a whole year, and everything they needed they would buy from his store, and at the end of the year they would pay him back with the profits that they made from working on his farm. However, at the end of the year, of course, they had no profits. In fact, all they got for working on his cotton and sugarcane farm was some bottles of sorghum, and he told them that they could sell them or do whatever with them, and maybe they could make enough money to pay him back. Otherwise, they couldn't leave. They couldn't leave because they owed him money. Money they wouldn't be able to pay back unless they stayed another year, which is how farmers after slavery was abolished kept people on the farm. I'm not saying abolishing slavery was wrong. It was right. But greedy people found another way. It was called sharecroppers. My dad was one of them. And yeah, he did pick cotton until his fingers bled. And yeah, they did get bottles of sorghum at the end of the year rather than money to pay off their debt so they could move on. So who should I talk about when I talk about not being a racist? Should I talk about my mother, my father? Should I talk about myself? And how when my sons were very young, I told them, I don't care what color the girl you bring home is. Just make sure that she loves you and she wants a future with you. My sons both ended up hooking up with crazy white girls who didn't want babies but evidently were willing to spit them out. My oldest son is a single dad, lives with us, and his daughter lives with us. his white mother didn't want anything to do with, his white girlfriend didn't want anything to do with the baby. In fact, she wanted to kill her. I'd have much preferred my son had met up with a black girl that actually wanted a family. I'd have been happy with a brown little girl. I loved my granddaughter. I wouldn't have cared what color she is. My youngest son, he hooked up with another crazy white girl who thought she wanted a baby till she had him. Then she didn't want him anymore. Now he lives with her parents, and my son gets to see him on weekends. Crazy white girl. I ain't got nothing against black girls, black guys, black anything. I wasn't raised that way. And until you can understand that, until you can get your head around that, you will never close the divide between us and you.